Hi, everybody. I am Dr. Mona Gohara, joining you for another episode of Dear Derm, this time again in quarantine. I have a phenomenal guest today. Dr. Adeline, welcome. Tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Mona. I'm excited to be here. So my name is Dr. Adeline Kikam. I am the founder of Brown Skin Derm, a platform dedicated to educating and having conversations that promote and advance skin of color. And I'm excited about the subject we're talking about today.
So here I'm sitting in this room where there's windows everywhere. I'm in front of a computer screen. I have brown skin. Some may say there's no reason for me to be wearing sunscreen right now, when we know that is a complete myth. Talk to us about the concept of where this came from, that brown and black women shouldn't be wearing sunscreen.
As we know, as dermatologists, we know, like when you're black or brown skin, you age, 10 to 20 years, I'd say slower than,
Thank God.
Thank God, compared to Caucasians. So based on that, people have not traditionally associated sun protection with black skin because they feel like melanin is all protective. And unfortunately, we don't have a culture of using sun protection because of all the misconceptions and about or lack of awareness on the purpose of sunscreen. I'm also going to preface another reason why, in our community about this lack of awareness when it comes to sunscreen. We have a low incidence of skin cancer in people of color. And when sunscreen is marketed as just, to prevent skin cancer in a community that has a low incidence, then, people feel like they don't need it.
Melanin is the pigment in our skin that gives us our color and that protects us from ultraviolet rays. Now, everybody has melanin. So those with more brown skin have more melanin than those with more light skin. We as people of color oftentimes think that we're protected when probably an average brown skin has about an SPF of about 13.4,
yes.
13 to 14. When we know that you need SPF 30 to protect yourself fully and to keep reapplying it every couple hours. So the reality is that even though we have brown skin, we still don't have enough natural melanin to protect us. Yes, brown and black skin are much less likely to get skin cancer.
Yes,
sure.
Mm-hmm.
But when we get it, it's much more likely to be deadly.
Yes, more
and
aggressive.
we do get it. But let's talk about melanoma and what that can look like in brown skin, brown and black skin.
So basically, when it comes to skin of color, obviously there's more melanin, right? So sometimes certain things are a lot more challenging to appreciate if you're not careful. When you have some skin cancers occur in white skin, there are certain features that going through training you're taught to easily pick up that may not manifest when dealing with skin of color. And then you have to know the areas that are more prone to developing melanoma in the first place, okay? So we're more prone to having melanoma develop in black and brown skin on acral surfaces, on non-sun exposed areas.
Just so we remember, it's palms, soles, under the fingernails, under the toenails, and don't forget to check both your mouth and genital skin.
So there are areas that you'll be able to quickly pick up some things that look suspicious or weird or different. That's one of the reasons why skin cancers in people of color are deadlier or more advanced by the time we diagnose them, and they have the poor statistics or the poor mortality and morbidity rates that we do have. So we need to increase awareness in screening, access to dermatology, have a higher index of suspicion, make sure we're screening the right places in patients of color, make sure that we're able to adequately examine some of these features and recommend appropriate care. When you're darker skin, you're more prone to conditions such as melasma, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation from your acne. So melasma is a chronic disorder of pigmentation. So you have more melanin than you should that is across, all the layers of the skin, and thus very difficult to treat. And we usually see it in women more so. And then post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation has to do with, after, let's say, a condition like eczema, acne resolves, you have the inflammation in the skin leads to the stimulation of more melanin. And that's where the post-inflammatory, because it's after the injury to the skin that we get this pigmentation. So the way I explain to my patients is when you get a bug bite, because we get mosquito bites and other types of bites here and there, it's always red, it's itchy, it's burning, it can be tender the first couple of days after the bite, but as it resolves, you kind of get the brown pigments to the area. So that's your post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So we usually see this in Asian and Hispanic and Black women, when it comes to melasma. Yeah. So we're more prone to that. And sun protection is very, very key.
The American Academy of Dermatology, which is kind of our overarching body, recommends that everybody, regardless of skin tone, wears sunscreen, broad spectrum SPF 30, every single day, rain, sleet, snow, shine, 365 days a year. And one of the rules of thumb that I tell my patients is if you could see your hand in front of your face outdoors, there's enough ultraviolet light to be creating damage.
I think sunscreen is one of the pillars in treatment when it comes to disorders of hyperpigmentation. When it comes to melasma and hyperpigmentation, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, I always advise the use of physical sunscreens over your chemical sunscreens. Chemical sunscreens are like sponges, like you absorb, and then there's a chemical process that goes on the skin, and then you have your protection from UV radiation, whereas with physical sunscreen is like a shield. It sits on top of your skin, and then the UV rays are reflected. They're not absorbed. Why is this a better choice when it comes to treatment of skin conditions like acne or other conditions? Is that you don't have too much irritation. You're not going to absorb into your skin and potentially cause some other form of dermatitis to happen. That's less likely to occur with your physical sunscreens. Now, the issue, I'm sure we're probably going to talk about it, is physical sunscreens are like the best, but then unlike the chemical sunscreen, they can be less cosmetically appealing for people of color. So it's a catch-22, like chemical sunscreen is not the best, but they are more likely to adhere to treatment because they don't have to deal with the dreaded white cast. Okay, I have one of my favorites here is the ISDIN Eryfotona Actinica Ultra-light emulsion. And I love this one because it's really great when it comes to the cosmetics. Now, when you first put it, it's going to have that tint we don't like, that kind of whitish tint, but don't give up on it yet. You just need to rub it a little bit more, okay? And when you rub it a little bit more, it just dissolves. It's very smooth. It's very light. It's very moisturizing. I love it. It also has like antioxidants. So you're not only like protecting yourself from UV radiation, but you're also repairing the damage that has already occurred. That's why I love it. The downside to the ISDIN Eryfotona is, I think, the price point. And then the other brand that I really, really, really love that I don't have with me here because I run out of it, I use it that much, is the Tizo AM Replenish Sunscreen. That one comes with vitamin E and I think vitamin C too, if I'm not mistaken. It feels really, really great on the skin. It's very light, and I like the tinted ones, although I've heard the non-tinted one is also good. It's very, very soft on the skin, non-irritating, also a physical sunscreen. And I think that one is SPF 40.
That's great.
So those are my top 2.
I like the Roche-Posay Ultra-light mineral fluid. I'm a big fan of that because just like you said, it's absorbent. And it doesn't smell. Smell really bother. I don't like things that smell. And so I'm a big fan of that. I also like Colorscience for reapplication.
Oh yeah, I do have the Colorscience one, with the brush, and that one is good for it.
Yeah, I love that for 2 reasons. Number one, it's good for reapplication throughout the day, and so Colorscience Sunforgettable, it's a brush and it's a powder, and I like it for scalp because oftentimes I part my hair in the middle.
This is a general tip. If you have, let's say you bought some other brand that is great, but you have the ashy cast and you don't want that, you can't return it to the store, you're already stuck with it, don't get rid of it yet. So put the adequate amount of foundation, then use a little bit, put the adequate amount of that sunscreen when you put it on, and then use a little bit to blend with foundation and put it over to get your cosmetics.
That's a great tip.
Yeah. Don't try to get all your adequate protection by mixing with the foundation. That's a no-no.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Dear Derm, Dr. Adeline. Don't forget to subscribe to Well+Good, but also to Dr. Adeline's phenomenal Instagram page and channel, which is at Brown Skin Derm. We are so lucky to have you today, and we're so lucky that you shared your insight with us. Everybody remember to drop a line below if you have any questions, and also remember to wear your sunscreen. See you later.
Thank you.